Hello everybody. I know I haven't made a video in a while. There's a lot of stuff going on, like the Monsanto Protection Act that I don't really want to talk about, and the fact that my husband has begun his active duty Army career, and so I'm not excited. I am excited because he's definitely going to be in that hero type position. He's going to be in the 1st Cavalry Charlie Company 15th Brigade Support Battalion, and so it's a combat unit, and basically I believe his job is going to be helping to make sure that supplies are there for people who are injured. So the first people that they see, you know, the EMT types, I think he's going to be in charge of making sure that those people have their supplies so that injured soldiers can be taken care of. So that is a good thing because soldiers deserve to be taken care of, but of course my heart is sad at the thought that he's probably going to get deployed. On the other hand, what I wanted to actually talk about today is B vitamins. And so when I took metabolism at Florida State University, we learned that most B vitamins, you can't really take too many of them because you'll just pee whatever is excess out, except for, with exception, B6, which can facilitate nerve damage if you take too much. And I think that was the only one that we really learned that had an upper limit. But the more that I actually read up on B vitamins, the more I realize that that's not entirely true. For instance, folic acid, elderly people who take more than 1 gram, or excuse me, more than 1,000 micrograms, which would be 1 milligram, not 1 gram. Big difference. Anyways, they have an increased risk of cancer, which makes sense because folate has to do with cell replication. Also, if you take too much folate and you have a B12 deficiency, then the folate can mask the B12 deficiency, which can end up with nerve damage because B12 helps to protect the myelin sheaths on your nerves. So, and I found this out because, well, there are also others as well. Like I said, the B6, it helps to your body to regenerate nerves on a basic level. Don't take that too literally. Regenerating nerves is not just that simple, but basically it has to do with nerve maintenance there. But too much can actually deteriorate nerves. So then there's, of course, too much niacin, like can cause flushing and hurt your stomach and cause stomach upset. But I want to focus on the folate today. And the reason why is because I have recently become a victim. I'm not right now. I'm totally fine. But I was taking something called methylated folate for like almost a year, I believe, after I had a second miscarriage 2 years ago now. I figured, oh, it must be folate, because that's what they always say, it's folate. You know, I had gotten my cholesterol up, so it couldn't be hormones, and I, you know, was eating lots of fat and stuff. But anyways, that's another issue. The point is, I was taking this methylated folate, 800 micrograms, which is basically 200% of the recommended dietary allowance, which is the correct amount if you're pregnant. So a lot of people, they say if you want to become pregnant, you take a prenatal beforehand, or you go ahead and take that folate. So I was taking the amount equivalent to what a pregnant woman should take, although I wasn't pregnant. But I wasn't taking B12 with that folate, but I didn't think that would be an issue because I do eat meat. Well, I actually believe from recent, I started having tingling in my hands, and I was reading in my nutrition book about how when you don't have B12 and you do have folate, it can end up with this nerve degeneration. Well, I don't have a B12 deficiency, but what if you don't need a B12 deficiency? What if you just have more folate than you do B12 and it's out of balance for a really long time? It could probably still affect your nerves. This is just me guessing and throwing things out there, but since I've quit taking it, I no longer get the tingling in my hands. So I still eat meat, you know what I mean? I don't have a B12 deficiency. So just a thought. But the main thing, the biggest thing I want to talk about, and there's someone that I really care about that I hope sees this video, because I think they're suffering from the same thing that I was, which is methylated folate, or even if it's not methylated folate, okay, methylated just means it has a methyl group on it, but methylated is even more prone to causing this, can actually induce mania. And people who have a tendency to be a little bipolar can actually be sensitive to that. Now, I have, like I've told you all, struggled with mood swings for like my whole life, and I've always had that bubbling up feeling where when I get excited, I'm just like, ah! And I just can't control myself. And it's ironic because I was worse the longer I stayed on that methylated folate. And of course, like, it's not a drug, it's folic acid, people. You wouldn't think that folic acid would do that, right? So I just didn't think that. Anyways, yes, I have pimples all over me, but you know what? I'm defeating my corn allergy and I'm eating whatever I want, including whole grains, and it's, ugh. So just take a good look. All right. Anyway, the point is that I realized it because we had gone out of town for a few days and I didn't take it with me, and I was like talking to my husband, I was like, you know, I haven't had these crazy manic mood swings. And then we got back home and I took one, and within 20 minutes I was like, you know, like I was used to being. And I said, I think it's that folate. And so I got on the internet, of course, you know, even me studying for a master's in nutrition, I still look to the internet for wisdom. So judge me if you will. But I actually found something, and I'm going to post the link here. And it was interesting to me because I didn't realize this, but psychiatrists give people methylated folate for depression. Now, I've heard of B vitamins being related to depression because, well, that totally makes sense. If you don't have B vitamins, then your body's not processing things, and nutrition is obviously related to depression. Well, what if you are not lacking B vitamins and you are not depressed and you take more B vitamins? Well, what happens? I think that I figured that out. I think it can cause, like, trigger bipolarity and mania. And on this PDF link that I'm posting below, it actually talks about that, how if you are bipolar, or if you're prone to bipolar, or if you blah, 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 it can trigger that. And so I quit taking the folate, and I just said forget about it. And I just try to eat a salad every day because that has folic acid. And and then I figured out that a lot of my issues were related to zinc, thank you nutrition, because I am sensitive to grains, so I don't eat a lot of grains and wheat, and unfortunately that's where you get a lot of zinc, is from whole grains, or sprouted grains really. And so if you don't have zinc, you don't absorb vitamin A. You know what I mean? Hello. And so that's off topic, but all I can say is after zinc, like, I can grow fingernails, and I have been so much calmer and more collected. I'm not crying as much. I don't fly off the handle as much. So I'm not saying that I am bipolar. I'm not planning on going to a psychiatrist anyway, you know. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, you know what I'm saying? But I feel good, and I feel calm, and I feel more in control of myself. So if you're taking B vitamins, first thing to note is you don't want to take one B vitamin by itself, because they all work together, and too much of one can mask a deficiency in another one, and it's not generally safe, in my opinion, especially folate by itself, because it can cause that masking of the B12 deficiency. And even if you're not deficient in B12 and you're just taking too much folate, then that can cause an imbalance, or too much niacin, or too much anything really. B6, I've seen people who are on supplements that have high amounts of B6, and they think they're all healthy, but then when they talk to you, they're like this, and I look at them and I know in my heart, you're taking too much B6, you know what I'm saying? And it's hard to tell somebody that. But I'm not a doctor, once again, as usual. I make nutrition a massive part of my life and studying it, and I care about the well-being of others. But really, I'm the science experiment, not you. So if you want to listen to anything I say or take heed in anything I say, check with your doctor. Of course, I would rather you check with your naturopathic doctor, or your osteopathic doctor, or your chiropractic doctor, or your doctor of nutrition than a medical doctor, because they get 6 weeks of nutrition nutrition crammed in at the end of the first year. But whoever you do talk to about nutrition, make sure they know about nutrition, you know. But anyways, I'll put this link below. If you're taking B vitamins and you're having emotions, lots of emotions, well, maybe it's like you've got gasoline that's a little too strong for your engine. Maybe you don't need that. Maybe it's too much. Maybe whatever. Because your body, last point here, does make its own B vitamins, especially from yeasts and bacteria. So if you have a gut that has probiotics in it, like you take probiotics, or if you even have candidiasis, you know, or yeast or fungus of any, that's where B vitamins grow. That's how they make those B vitamins to sell to you. So if you've got bacteria and yeast in your gut should be making B vitamins. So I think B vitamins are kind of overrated the more I learn about it, and fat-soluble vitamins are underrated. But I'm not saying go out and take a single fat-soluble vitamin either, because they all work together. Really, we just want to get it from our food, and that's why I'm studying nutrition. So if you want to get folate from your food, eat a salad, a dark green leafy salad every day. Don't, you know, romaine I wouldn't think counts, and especially iceberg. So, you know, that has folate, or even enriched bread. Like if you're going to eat bread, I personally, this is what happens to me when I take advice of, you know, the person who wrote my nutrition book. My face explodes. Whole grains, I think I'm sensitive to the gliadin in them, so I need to get my folate elsewhere. And meat, gotta eat meat to get B12. Sorry, unless you're going to take B12 and then they're growing it on yeast. Have a wonderful day. If you're feeling manic, I hope this makes you have hope, and it will bless you and your pursuit of perfection, which is impossible. But anyway, bye-bye.